For more, let's cross to our correspondent in Rome, Seema Gupta. Hello to you, Seema. This is a very complex and messy issue. First of all, tell us about these three ships.
Well, what we do know is that they're migrant rescue ships. They're run by different NGOs, non-governmental organizations. There are almost 1,000 migrants in total aboard these three ships. They did, as you mentioned, ask for safe port as they were in a distress situation, dealing with so many migrants on board. Access to ports in Italy and Malta. So far, they've not received any support on that front, and they've been stuck at sea for almost 2 weeks or so. So now the Italian Interior Minister of this new far-right government that we have here in Italy said that he is drafting and putting in place these new laws looking at these NGO groups that he says who violate procedures. They don't coordinate their rescue missions with the authorities. And he says that the countries whose flags that they fly on these ships, they should intervene and take in these migrants. So looking at these three different ships, you've got Humanity One, which is carrying a German flag. They've got 179 migrants on board. Some 100 of them are unaccompanied minors. And then you have Ocean Viking as well as Geo Barents. Both of them have the Norwegian flags. One is run by a French-based NGO and the other one by Doctors Without Borders. So really a complicated issue, but it's important to remember that this issue about NGO-run ships was also something that came out in terms of a clash with the Italian government when we had the former Interior Minister Matteo Salvini from the League Party. He's now a member of the government, and the current Interior Minister did work under him when Salvini was the Interior Minister. So clearly they are pressing on the same lines. Italy is very clear. There's not allowing them in for the moment. They want to see more help from other European partners. And Ms. Meloni, for her part, in her visit to Brussels on Thursday, said that she brought up this issue with EU chiefs, and she said she had willing ears that were willing to listen to Italy's point of view.
France has responded to this incident in the Mediterranean. Do they say anything along the lines for what Italy is looking for?
Well, what the French Interior Minister has said on Friday is that Italy must let the ships in because that's international law. When there is distress, it's the closest port of entry, and Italy is the closest port of entry. He did add, however, that he had no doubt that Italy would intervene, and that France and Germany, for their parts, he said, would be ready to take in some of those migrants, and that he stressed Italy is not alone. On Thursday, both Germany and Norway, the other country that carries the flags on these ships, both said that essentially it has to follow international law. Italy, being the closest country, needs to take them in and process these migrants. That's the way it works. It's the closest safe port of entry. But the Italians clearly want to make sure that they get the support once these migrants end up on their shores. And it's important to note that the Italian authorities are continuing to allow arrivals when migrants are picked up by Italian patrols. Just on Thursday, 456 migrants were brought to ports in Calabria in the south of Italy. But it's important to note almost 1,000 migrants on these three different ships, and they are deteriorating weather as well as sea conditions on these boats. They're sleeping out in the open. We are hearing reports that there are fevers, colds. They're struggling on board these ships, and they need access to care as fast as possible.
All right, Seema, thank you very much. Seema Gupta reporting from Rome.